Let's fucking go. You are listening to the Outlaw Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy.
Whoa. Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That mean you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it because you all cap like. Hold up, I shoot my shot. Wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this go up. You know it's all net when it go up. Ain't got no other plans. You don't need to understand.
All right, we are here. It's Wednesday morning. This is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy, along with a couple other fucking guys here in the room, and that starts with Leo behind all the controls. Leo,
good morning,
Wednesday
brother.
Morning, man. Midweek already.
Oh, yeah.
And a beautiful week.
I'm-
The sunsets have been gorgeous.
Oh,
All the reasons that
it
we
hasn't
love
been
living here.
over 90 degrees.
Not yet, but
Not yet, at least. Next week.
We're working on it. We're working on it. And at the other mic is Mike.
Good morning. How you doing on this beautiful Wednesday?
I'm good, brother. I'm ready to get going and talk about State of the Union last night. So Dawn and I worked out later, and then went and had some Mexican. It's not our number, I think I've only taken her there once, but it's okay. It's not. I mean, Nando's is our big one that we go to on a regular basis. But Macayo's.
Oh yeah, Mikhail's. I like Mikhail's.
It's pretty good.
Mhm.
Yeah, their fajitas were actually really good. The chicken was excellent. So we went there, and obviously the State of the Union was going on, and so we got home, and we ended up logging on to the PBD channel, Patrick
Okay.
Bet David,
Mhm.
as they were commenting as it was going on,
Yeah.
and they didn't interrupt too much, which was really
Mhm.
good in how they did that. And we backed it up and watched it from the beginning. But I am going to tell you that we probably watched an hour, and then I was just done. And I don't mean, anything negative about that, but I was just
It's over it. Yeah.
I was just done.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of a thing. It had nothing to do with Trump. I was positive. I, liked the message. I really liked the beginning of it, and the different, people that he announced, and, the 100-year-old vet
Mm-hmm.
from World War II. Dude's 100 years old, and he looked more physically capable than Joe Biden
I'm
at 100 years old.
not surprised by that.
Yeah.
Guy probably has never stopped moving.
Just I love stuff like that. And then I don't remember the guy's name and didn't pull it up here, but it was during the floods in Texas that I think it was Coast Guard.
Yeah.
It was a
Mhm.
guy, a fairly new member with the Coast Guard rescue, who rescued over 160 some people, and also pulled a little girl out
Mhm.
of that because the floodings were so bad, and they had to go in there and do that kind of thing. And he was there, and the little girl was there, and Trump honored them, and also the Medal of Legion or something like that.
I'm not
Was
100%
it
certain on that
something like that. It was a different medal than the other medals Trump had been giving out, like the Medal of Freedom. The Medal of Freedom was the one he gave to the hockey player, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Which was great too. And I'll get into that in a minute, because we didn't really talk about it Monday. But this, you got liberals complaining about the hockey team a little bit for some different things that were said, not by them, but by Trump. But they laughed. And how dare they laugh when Trump makes a misogynist joke? He made a joke about women, and I mean, geez, oh, Pete, it's so silly. It's just Trump. It's how he's been
Yeah.
for his whole life. That kind of shit's just not gonna change. And the certain locker room banter that he's engaged in,
They don't understand.
yeah, and he can't. he can't publicly say anymore, grab him by the pussy.
Nope. No.
And he didn't say that publicly prior.
Yeah.
It was when
Just
there was
made
an
public.
interview being done, and I think
Yeah.
it was,
like
when
a recorder in the pocket type
was,
situation.
well, I think it was all being recorded, but
Yeah.
that was part
Yeah.
was cut out because you take breaks,
Yeah.
but happened to be
Supposed to
recorded
be off the
and
record.
yeah, off the record, but just chatting in between and just guy shit, and people are like appalled that guys talk like men.
Yeah.
We talk about women. Women talk about men, for God's sakes.
Yep.
But that's okay. That criticism is okay of men in general. In fact, it's encouraged, and especially against white men. It's extremely encouraged, right?
We're all worthless, and they're worth more than
Oh.
what they really are worth.
That's a whole segment just by itself.
Yeah.
But so Trump made a comment when he was talking to the men that I guess I missed it the first time around over the weekend when he said, I guess I'll have to invite the women too to the White House. And, look, of course he's going to want the women there. It was just something said at the moment. And so I don't know if that was part of the reason the women, decided not to go or celebrate for it. But I guess they're invited to the White House, and apparently they're going to come. And 20 of the 25 men came. And I could see some of them had other reasons. I don't know. I haven't seen any of them come out and say that they weren't coming for political reasons, which some people would like them to do, obviously.
But that's not always the case.
And that no, it is, and it's what's that?
You're muted. What does that even do politically wise? Not showing up to the White House, like what statement does that even give? Like, who fucking cares if he doesn't show up?
Yeah, I mean, but it makes a statement on both sides, and does anybody really care? Well, not in a hardcore way, but again, it comes down to hate your government, whatever, but love your country. And there's a whole lot of people that have the attitude that even when Obama was in office, and they were conservative, they voted Republican. Are you really, when you're put in a position of having the ability to be in the same room as a president, any president from any party, are you really going to turn that opportunity down? It's just,
I mean,
not
what
many.
if, are we just showing up just to look at him and that's it, and then go home, or do we get
no,
to
I
like?
don't know if
It's to honor
it's
you.
an event or something, or it's a
getting another
party.
medal,
I'm
or-
just saying that like people generally want to, like, I don't know,
I get
like
what you're saying.
even
I get
though
what you're saying.
I'm a Trumper, like I can't say if I was put in a position where and I have certain feelings about Obama and what he did and what I thought of his presidency. Would I, if somebody offered me the opportunity to meet him, even today, would I turn that down because of my political views? Probably not.
Let's replace Obama with Biden, because I think Obama's a little bit like more of a likable person than Biden is.
Yeah, probably. I probably.
I'd have to agree
But-
with that.
I would probably. It
Or
It would
even
be
better,
a bigger deal.
Let's say it was Kamala. Do you still have the same opinion?
Am I allowed to tune out, like while she's talking?
But that's my point, right? Like,
But
why are you
would
showing
I-
up in the first place then?
but
if
would I still go? Yeah, probably.
I'd still go. It's there to honor you, and your
Well,
achievements.
even if it wasn't to honor me, if it's just a meeting, just being able to
just
be
in general.
yeah, just
Yeah.
in general, I was going by too.
Okay.
I mean, it's not something everybody gets to do.
Yeah. No.
You know what I'm saying?
I've never been to the White House.
Yeah, and it's a story. I love stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just like it's just part of things, but people really, just as they had opinions that we touched on Monday about Gwen Stefani, and now with the hockey team, because the women was great. Don't get me wrong. I love what the women did. I enjoyed the games. I have absolutely 100% nothing negative to say about the women. But this wasn't the women's first win. Now, it wasn't the men's first win either. But it had been 46 motherfucking years.
Yeah, I think the women, they said that it was like 2016 or something like a lot much more recent.
Yeah, they've won like at least 2 other times.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
So you're
Which is
saying
not-
the women are
not
better
fair.
than the men in hockey?
Maybe. But this was a bigger deal. You know, the women compete on a regular basis right now on the world stage. I think the women are considered, the U.S. women are considered one of the top 2 teams consistently. And Canada, obviously, the other. Where the United States men's, we're not always considered the number 2 team. Canada's pretty much got the number 1 locked up, right? As being the number
Finland's
1
really good.
team that right, but there's other good
Yeah,
teams.
there's like
The men
5 or
aren't just
5 or
like
6,
number
yeah.
2 like that. So again, it was a bigger deal to me for the men to win this. I think people thought going into this that it was possible that the men could win and could compete, but I can't say that people were certainly weren't overconfident. Where it would have been surprising if the women hadn't at least made it to the gold medal game. It would have kind of been surprising.
Yeah.
Right. Where it was just a big deal. And you just think of 1960, 1980, and 2026.
Yep.
And in the year that's our country's 250th anniversary.
Yep.
So there's a bunch of things you
Yeah,
could
there
throw on top of it that's really cool or a big deal. And so this absolutely was a big deal. And people should be able to rally around that and celebrate that. But then you have these people on the left, well, because, you know, these hockey players, you know, these damn hockey players, they're just being men. They win the gold medal. They fly into Miami and party all night
Oh, no.
on Monday.
Those sons of bitches. Those pieces of shit. How
Yeah,
dare
driving
they?
around. They were celebrating. And what a place to do it in, I can tell you that. And then to go from that to make it somehow to Washington, D.C., especially with all the weather.
Yeah, that turnaround was probably insane.
And that not only that, the NHL starts back up today. So those fuckers got to get back home, and some of them got to play today.
Good luck to that. I don't know how the fuck they're
And
gonna do it.
that's just
That's
being
brutal.
a young man doing young man shit and having a ball.
That's
You know what I
brutal,
mean?
Though. Man, I get
But
it.
I love that.
I'd be down for it 100%. Absolutely.
I've done dumb shit like that. I think that's just great. But people wanting to criticize them because you know, how can you the whole world's looking at you and you're this is what they say. The reason they don't want people to go to these types of things and meet the president, especially Trump, is because in this case, they say it normalizes him. And we don't want to normalize him.
President?
Yeah, this is Democrat shit. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not making it up. They actually use words like normalize, that it normalizes him, and that Trump wants them around there because it normalizes him.
Yeah.
Trump wants them around for one reason and one reason only, is because he thinks he's a winner and he likes to hang with other winners.
I
And
mean,
he
yeah.
likes to celebrate winning.
Yeah.
I mean, he
It's
mentioned
not
it.
secret.
He mentioned it. He went on his whole rant about winning,
Yep.
too much winning. Oh, Mr. President, this is too much winning. I can't take it. And he's like, you're gonna have to take it. I've got more winning for you. It was so funny. Did you see that
Yeah,
part?
I've seen that.
Last night? That was so funny. So it was really cool. But what was also crazy is he spent literally about 17 minutes on just the hockey alone last night.
That's how long it was. I didn't really like keep the track of the time.
About 17 minutes.
I mean,
And they came in from the top. And there was a couple other things that was weird, but they came in from the top and they through 2 doors. And There was 20 of them, as I said. And then the goalkeeper, it was announced the goalkeeper, he awarded the Medal of Freedom, which is a big deal to have that awarded to you. And even Democrats got up and applauded. So good for them. But they can't vote for or they can't stand and clap for a kid who has cancer that's black, and
They can't do that.
They can't do that. But they were at least able to stand for the hockey. So good for them that they didn't make themselves look like fools. And for the most part, a lot of the people who were fools weren't there last night, except for Al Green that we mentioned before, that the U.S.
Yes,
representative from Texas held up a sign that said black people aren't apes. So he got escorted out.
Thank you for letting us know.
Huh?
At the hockey thing?
Not the State of the
At
Union.
the State of the Union. At the State of the Union last night. And there were instances of Ilhan Omar and a couple of the others, I think either in also maybe AOC yelling out at the president, because that's become a thing. And that was a thing prior to. Republicans. There's been Republicans that did that to Democrats.
Yeah, that was going to be the next question. You've watched more State of the Unions than I have, and I was curious if that the shouting and everything in the middle of the president talking, if that was a common thing or if that was more recent within the last 10 years or so.
More recent,
okay,
but not exclusive to Trump.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it may be late in Biden's term, so maybe just a little over 10 years. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I remember Marjorie Taylor Greene and then the other lady, I can't remember her name, but they were the two main ones yelling at Biden during his.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that was a thing. Whatever. But the fact that some of them even stood at all, because last year, it was like nothing. I don't think they stood for anything. What was odd though is when you're watching the players walk in, that section that they walked into was actually the national media up there. That was like media row.
Yeah.
That had all those laptops there. And they didn't clap. They showed no emotion whatsoever. I know, generally things are supposed to, maybe you're supposed to fake being neutral or something. But you're telling me that something really great for your country, and you're a journalist in this country, you can't clap in support for the men's national hockey team?
Yeah.
They looked stupid.
Well, their whole job is literally because of our Constitution, the free speech, everything like that. That they have a job because of the liberties that this country affords us. Yeah,
I don't know why I really would like a better answer from them, and I hope some other reporter asked them, like, why wouldn't you do that?
What if they just didn't care for
all of them?
Hockey?
All of them. Literally none of them.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's just weird. But even if you don't like hockey, it doesn't matter if you don't like hockey. You're just celebrating that your country was just at the Olympics and had a great performance. And on those kinds of things, to at least some small degree, we should be able to take out politics and just celebrate.
Yeah.
This isn't the Chicago Blackhawks winning.
Okay,
this is the national team.
I'm not familiar with what the State of the Union is, so maybe I'm confused at what this event was. So they just showed up and just like celebrated a bunch of different stuff, or was like what was this for? Like, what is the State of the Union?
The president.
For.
Yeah, the president, whoever the president is, goes before Congress, usually in February, and gives a speech and goes over, the accomplishments for the past year, and tries to set the tone of the things he'd like to see and have to come in the future. So it's where you're getting them all in one place.
And once a year?
Once a year. And then you're also, that's giving the president, like, they don't always want to cover the president. They do because they cover him because of the ratings that he gets them. But here they all are there. All eyes are on this. So, I mean, you don't have to watch it, but the State of the Union is watched by a lot of Americans. The number is
Because
really
you guys
high.
are just celebrating.
No, they're not just celebrating because they talk about many different things. It's not just a celebration, and it's changed over the years. Like how Trump brings people in and acknowledges Americans that have done certain things. You know, like I said, applauding that hero, applauding the veteran who was 100 years old, and things like that. That was actually something I believe that Bill Clinton started.
Back in the 90s, late 90s.
Yeah, he started that where they did these kind of feel good stories that the president would say.
Okay, sorry. I just I don't know. Again,
No.
you know me. I'm a
No, you'd like to know. Like I said,
and like that. No, but like I'm just kind of trying to wrap. So how long is this event typically? Does it vary depending on the year or who's president or like?
it can be as short or as long as they want it to be. But like how Trump, he can like
He wants to put a show on for
he
sure.
can freestyle like no motherfucker can freestyle. And he actually broke Bill Clinton's record last night for the longest State of the Union speech.
How long was it?
I'd put money on that.
It was like
talked
over
for
a couple
while.
hours. Oh yeah, it was
Couple
over
hours.
Yeah, look
Yeah,
it up.
Jesus
I don't know.
Christ.
They're usually about.
Yeah,
like,
it was
around 2
that. Why
hours.
did you heard me, dude? I'm interested in this stuff, and even I turned the channel. I might go back and watch parts I missed if I really care, and there were some really good parts for sure, but it was really spaced out. Well, it's going to take you a while to do the State of the Union when you spend 17 minutes just on the hockey team.
Yeah.
108 minutes. It looks like.
So just shy of 2 hours.
He broke his
Oh,
own
okay.
record
So it really wasn't that
last
bad.
year.
Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious. I love
Donald
that.
Trump is on here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Him and Bill.
We're ushering in a new golden age of America.
Is that the top 10 or something?
yeah.
Yeah.
Literally
Something like that.
all Trump, Biden, and
Clinton.
Clinton. That's all three people
Well,
are
well,
on.
Difference
Biden's
in
only
Biden.
on there once, and after next year, because he only has to beat what is it, 70 some minutes by Biden, then that means that Biden will be off that list next year as far as the top 10 in speech length. In speech length.
On Trump's worst day, he fucking has how many more minutes than Biden? 5 more minutes than Biden? Yeah, still on his worst day. And that's like, that's actually, I didn't know that people kept track of this stuff. This is a first for me.
Oh yeah,
But
absolutely they do.
It's interesting the color coding as well. Seeing-
Red and blue.
yeah. Just seeing how that paradigm shift of at least what people would think now compared to back then. It's
Yeah.
nuts.
So that was the interesting takeaways for me for the hockey team was partly what I was saying is about the media not clapping, which just seemed odd. I mean, I would think when things was a more political thing, I could see that they're not going to clap. Just like the Democrats, didn't clap during, well, wasn't it the transgender, the ban on secret gender transitions. Trump talked about that. And yeah. And the Democrats didn't applaud. President Trump's decision to rip Democrats is crazy during his State of the Union last night after they remained seated while he demanded a ban on socially transitioning minors without parental consent. And whatever, to me, that's the line, right? That even if you're for and supporting under age 18 youths, even if you're supporting transitions and surgeries, you should not support it without the consent of the parents. That if that can't be I always want to find some place of agreement where we can start from and negotiate from.
Yeah.
Can't we? Doesn't that seem like something reasonable?
I would believe so, yeah.
Right? Like
parental consent is needed for pretty much anything else.
You can have your opinion on whether it should happen or not, but it should not happen without a parent's consent.
Especially life altering like that.
Yeah, that would if if that happened, I would freak the fuck out, dude. I really would.
Absolutely. Justifiably.
Like bad things like freak out kind of thing. Like
that's your child. Like that's
it's just totally insane.
And the fact that that next part where it says drew sharply divided reactions from a live panel of voters, the fact that it has any sort of sharp division at all just shows you the current state we're in and our mindset and ideology, at least on that side, their ideology. It should never be sharply divided.
But surely we can all agree no state can be allowed to rip children from their parents and transition them to a new gender against the parents' will, Trump said. Who would believe that? We must ban it, and we must ban it immediately. As Trump delivered the remarks, the Republican line, shown in red, climbed sharply into the positive territory. Independents, represented in yellow, also ticked upwards, while Democrats in blue trended to the negative territory. The comments drew applause from Republicans in the chamber, but the president became incensed when he realized the Democrats refused to stand. And he pointed it out, which you know that he's going to do.
Yeah.
He's going to point you out. But yeah, that's just absolutely crazy to not support that.
The thing where you said he knows he's going to point it out, I 100%, he came out and said because it's something he thoroughly believes in. It's just, like we said, it shouldn't be anything that is a divisive topic, getting parental consent for these things. But, he did it because he's like, those motherfuckers are not going to agree with that. They're going to do something.
He's going to make them look bad.
And I'm going to fucking point it out while I have the mic and everybody can hear me.
Exactly.
And everyone just hears your quiet little echoes. And he has all the platform completely to him. And I don't mind. If that is the case, I don't mind that strategy because that's just typical competition in my opinion.
Well, here's the thing that's dumb about the Democrats doing this is they're losing because of little tiny issues that only affect a very tiny number of people and that only a very small number of people actually believe in. And they've been dubbed lately over the last year or so as what they call the 80-20 issues. Yeah. And it might be a little more than 80%, a little less, but where the dominant position is a big majority. The strong majority. Yes, exactly.
I look at the numbers, absolutely. No, I know 100% what you mean.
Yeah, so that's just common sense, but what the Democrats, they've attacked Trump on the economy a little bit, but if they just dropped the stupid shit and focused on that, and I think it was not brilliant for the president to say that he was going to bring that prices down. Okay, I didn't think that was a brilliant move. And you have to explain it to people. Look, this is going to come in steps, and my step the first year is going to be just to get the inflation rate down so things aren't going up as quickly as they have in the 3 years previous to me. Because that he has accomplished. Yeah. He's accomplished bringing it down, especially with his policies that are really starting to show that it's working in the final quarter, where I believe the inflation rate was 1.7%.
Under 2.
Under that's like really, really,
that's
really
a big deal because it hovers around
huge good, okay? Huge. But bringing prices down that people have already accepted, companies just don't do that. That's very hard.
That's part.
And when you have a deflationary environment, many people can worry about then a recession. Yep. But that's actually, it's not a bad thing, because what causes these issues and what causes inflation is the government just spending and printing more money, or putting more money out there that you have sloshing around or handing out to people and giving them the ability to, buy certain things, and, more money chasing fewer things, the price goes up. That's just how it works.
While he wasn't in office, while Biden was in office, doing the whole COVID era stuff, right before it, but he was the one that basically was like, this is going to bring us into a recession 5-6 years down the road. Like, he was calling it, saying that this was terrible financially and for our economy. And he called it how many years before? It was, we'll say we're at 2026, so we'll say 5 years, I guess, 6
Mhm.
years. He called it before all that, and now everything that he's saying that would happen, at least to some degree, it's happening. And now everyone wants to get mad at him because he's in office, but he's the one fucking unraveling all this, trying to mitigate these issues.
But he did say it about bringing prices down, and prices haven't come down. Just the rate of increase has almost stopped. And so you could fairly criticize him on that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it would be a smarter move for them to focus on that and present their ideas on what they will do or what they're going to try to propose, you know, to do that, you know, if they get in office again, if they get in power again. That should be the message. Instead, they're messaging on a bunch of dumb shit. That
Petty
really
shit.
isn't working, or they're insulting black people. You know, you think that stupid video with the Obama's faces on apes, you think that was really bad? Let me tell you what's also really bad is sitting on a stage in front of a room of black people and saying, "Hey, I'm as dumb as you. I sucked on my SAT test too." That was insinuating that black people can't get the, do the SAT. And, they're already insinuating on another issue. Black people aren't smart enough to get driver's license. We have to help them out, to be able to do this. And it's just not, it's just not the case. But it's what they refer to as soft bigotry when they say things like that. But it's still bigotry.
It's more passive.
It's still racist.
Absolutely.
Oh, I did poorly on my SATs, and I also he was dyslexic. And I'm talking about Governor Newsom, who just done this a couple days ago in a speech on stage, and he's getting ripped for it, and rightly so. He should get ripped for it.
100%.
Because if a Republican had said that, they would be getting ripped hard. That's it's just a dumb thing. Because Republicans don't want, in general, we want everybody to do well and to have an opportunity to pursue their dreams. And I think most people are at the point where minorities were at a point, and we seem to be going backwards, where, do you want to be known or do you want to get the position because you were the best that applied for the position? Or you want to get the position because they wanted a black person and you might have been the best black person. You weren't the best person that applied for the job. You were third on the list.
Yeah.
But they wanted it to be a minority, and the other two weren't, so you got it.
Yeah. No,
I wouldn't want that.
I agree 100%. I wouldn't want that.
Like any human being
it's
would.
Deflationary. Like you feel deflated, like you weren't the best person, but you got it just because of what it can do for them rather than what you can do for them from a skills standpoint, like your knowledge as a person. Yeah, I would be offended to no end. And I say that all the time. I think it's the most offensive thing in the world to be cherry picked like that just because of what you are on the outside. That we use that never judge a book by its cover for, don't say negative things about that. But you never know. Like, you pick somebody just because the color of their skin. Who knows what that cascades into? Maybe they're not qualified for the job, which sometimes they're not. And then it just leads into this spiral of things one after another in terms of like having to do major layoffs. Like the state of Arizona, they've had some of the biggest cuts of all time because their state offices were in shambles. They didn't hire the right people. Nobody was overseeing anything. They just hit the numbers that they needed to hit in terms of who was breathing down their neck. And now you have like 5 people pretty much governing all of like SNAP, the unemployment income, all that stuff. So it's like you have people waiting a year to get help who genuinely need it. If they have a disability, they have to wait a year because of this. And it just starts from the top and trickles down, and they don't see the little things that happen to the everyday American.
Right.
But
who they pretend to understand and represent.
Yeah.
And that's why, you see the new commercials. It's so funny that you would never have seen this 15 years ago. no politician would have run a commercial where they would repeat "fuck somebody else" multiple times, you know? So there was a candidate that is running for office, and they don't say it until the end, but they get all these other people to say it, you know, "fuck Trump," and it's "fuck Trump," and keep showing different people saying it. I mean, that just wasn't a thing. You know, you challenge people on ideas.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't just attack them by "fuck them."
Yeah.
Now that doesn't, but that was, you know, your political leaders. That wasn't us.
Yeah.
Like
everyday
your
person.
everyday person, you're
Yeah.
sure they say stuff like that,
Naturally. Yeah.
but you're supposed to have a certain sense of decorum and certain. You're at a certain level.
Oh, yeah.
At that, and though whatever those things are being shredded, and Trump does contribute to that. But
yeah.
but
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't really have a problem with that because of how he basically just returns fire.
Yeah.
He typically doesn't fire first, and it's been that way even before he was president.
That's kind of what I was gonna get at.
Yeah.
Is the way he does it compared to the way they do it. He does it in a way that, you know, he's not, like you said, he's not sending the first shot. He's always responding to something, but he doesn't do it in a way that's so highly critical and just so, like, he does it on one specific person. He's not talking about everybody, and they don't do that. They turned it to Trump, but also everybody that supports Trump, and then it's a blanket statement for all of them. They see they call it hatred, bigotry, or whatever, and they try to overcome it with whatever their version is. But it's really just more hatred and more bigotry that's just louder, and they just stack it on top.
I can't remember the guy's last name. Is it Gutierrez? Jose Gutierrez?
Not
It's Jose something.
I'm not.
He's a representative from Texas, but he apparently, there's accusations that he had an inappropriate relationship with a staffer, and that staffer, I guess, killed herself.
Oh boy.
And there are, as I understand it, text messages that have been released that are basically them sexting back and forth. And that's the evidence so far, you know, and people are calling on Republicans to get this guy to resign. Well, we're at razor thin margins. The guy's not resigning. And in fact, I believe he's still continuing to run for office. Now, on a Republican side, what they could do is support a different candidate to run. I wouldn't get rid of him or force a resignation before. If you can't force a president who fucks a staffer in the Oval Office, or minimum gets blowjobs in the Oval Office, okay, if they're not forced to resign, then why should a representative be forced to resign as well? And again, it's just over allegations. Serious allegations. Well, serious allegations are not charges.
Yeah.
You know, serious allegations do not mean guilty. You know,
Do they like the staffer that took her life? Are they saying like
I don't know.
the
She
embarrassment or
says
something?
It's a crazy story. Like she got set on fire or something.
What
I
the
don't know.
fuck?
I don't know who, you know.
She doused herself in gasoline.
What the fuck?
Dude, I don't know who decides to kill themselves by gasoline, but it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm interested in what the fuck happened here. So let's see. Regina Santos Aviles, former regional district director for U.S.
I'm sorry to all the guitarists that I said that out there. It's Gonzalez.
U.S. Rep Tony Gonzalez died by suicide in September 2025. Wow, that was a little bit longer than I thought. After reportedly dousing herself in gasoline, according to reports. As of February 2026, allegations have surfaced regarding an affair between her and Rep Gonzalez, with leaked text messages leading to calls for his resignation. I actually do. Now I do remember this story. It obviously didn't get covered as much as others, but I do remember this. So does it say that she died from like suffocation of like the fumes, or she actually put herself in flames there?
Good question.
Oh yeah, Violet. Yeah, she put herself in flames. That's fucking insane.
Yeah. You have mental issues. There's a mental problem going on there that's deeper than whatever her relationship was with the dude.
I would never set myself on fire. That is like the most torturous, excruciating way.
Can you believe? Yeah.
The only thing I think would be worse is being buried alive. That's it. Because at least at the end of the fire, like at some point it ends. At least quicker. That's insane.
Yes, it is.
How old was she? Did you say 25? 35. Damn.
35?
Yeah.
At 35, you're not a kid.
No.
Monica Lewinsky was a very young woman.
Mm-hmm.
She was of age, but she was very, very young.
Yeah.
And a president is way more powerful than a representative is.
Yeah. It takes two to tango. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything about this.
Like most of the time back then, we didn't have social media like we do now. You met people at work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Now workplace relationships, at least where the last place I worked, it was supposedly a big no. But people on the low, I mean, you could tell. Like, I think it's natural that you happen
and
to
those
catch
relationships aren't always with somebody in management either.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean.
People for so many, like you're obviously there sometimes more than you're at home.
Yes,
it's natural. I don't think there's a big deal.
I don't either. It's just something that is going to happen. It has happened forever.
Yeah, it's going to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tragic. The story is tragic.
Oh, absolutely. That's
but
horrible.
the cause of, I mean, these are the same Democrats that want to get rid of somebody over an allegation that are protesting because they think illegals are not getting due process. Well, if illegals should get due process, shouldn't real Americans get due process too?
You would think so.
Right. Because I just had another thing on, this is so stupid. I don't think I shared it with you guys. So I got into this little beef with this dude on Facebook. Maybe it was a reel, and it was talking about weight loss and Ozempic. And the story was about the fact that it makes people on Ozempic, that it's making some of them hate the taste of meat. And I was like, what? I've worked with hundreds. Now, some people, when I talked to them and counseled them, they didn't like red meat.
Yeah.
And they would just eat chicken or whatever. There are people that like that, or, maybe respond a certain way.
Yeah.
But they already didn't like it. I have nobody out of the hundreds of people, not saying it can't be possible, but at least the people I've worked with, I don't have a single one that's ever, called or messaged me and said, there's some things I like that I don't really like anymore. Now, curb their appetite. They're not eating certain things as much anymore, but to say it made it taste different and stuff. And so I made some comments about that, and this guy tried to contradict me, and he lost weight. Apparently I hurt his feelings, in it, in the post, but just over meat, he got all bent out of shape, and he looked me up, and he made a comment about the charges that I had, the assault charges in Maricopa County, right? And do your clients know about this in your criminal background? I laughed so fucking hard. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So what I did is I don't have that mugshot, but I have like one of my older mugshots that I posted. I said, well, what about this? Look, dude, I talk about this stuff all the time. And I didn't even bring up the fact that, yes, I was charged with assault, even assault with a deadly weapon. You know what the deadly weapon was?
What was it?
A pickup truck. Because the dude we were in a parking lot at the time, and he was acting like he was going to follow me. So I backed the truck up to get him off my tail and move forward.
Sure.
And then he came back up, and then we did it again. But then the third time I did it, he stayed back, and I left.
Yeah.
Right? But that was one of the things they tried to charge me with is
assault with a pickup truck.
Yeah. And there was no crash. Like, nobody hit anybody. You know what I mean? It's just so stupid. But anyways, all the charges. So I of course, I fought it. And I didn't, anyways, I didn't take any. They tried to offer a couple of plea deals like beforehand. I'm like, no, we're going to trial.
Yeah, fuck
this is it. Like, this is so stupid, this shit. And the day before the trial, they just dropped all the charges because it was all bullshit.
That's how
they
it
just
goes.
dropped it all together.
The judge probably looked at it as like, I don't want to fucking waste my time with this. That's probably exactly
Well,
what
I
happened.
know that would have to come from the prosecutor's office.
It has to do with that first?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The judge is not going to make that decision.
Oh, okay.
But the maybe like the lead head prosecutor, because they're in also in connection into consulting with my attorney.
Yeah.
Like, this is not going to go the way you guys wanted, and evidence wise and
for
whatever.
sure.
But again, it was an allegation, and I didn't get convicted. It didn't even go to trial. I didn't get declared innocent because it didn't even go to trial. They didn't even have enough confidence to even try it like that. But people making judgments, and I'm like, you have no idea. Like, my clients, and I think I even said, so you're trying to say maybe I was some kind of badass? Is that what you're trying to imply? Like, you think my clients are going to stop the consulting that they do with me because you post this on Facebook and they didn't know I had charges in Maricopa County.
They like the bad boys, Troy. They looked you up, saw your mugshot, and they became immediately intrigued.
Dawn actually likes that mugshot. Actually, I'm not lying.
I don't. That doesn't surprise. It's weird stuff like that. It's like the manliness, I guess, of it. Like at least the older definition of manliness, I guess we'll say.
Yeah, something like
that.
that.
Surprise me. But back to
it's just showing about allegations. Like, you can't. You have to let things play out to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that this man's influence, if that was a smart thing to do for him in office, it wasn't. But you still have to let it kind of play out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the best way, especially so late now, it being, almost March, and you're going to be voting in November, find somebody to challenge him in a primary.
Yeah, that's your best bet.
That's your best bet. On the Republican side. Or they can decide, we don't care and we're just going to support it.
Yeah. Either way.
Whatever. And then the voters will decide. Look, you had somebody in, what was it? It was North Carolina, South Carolina? One of the people running for attorney general mentioned killing his opponent's kids and stuff. It was a huge controversy. It was a huge controversy. And people were saying for him to drop out, and he didn't, and he won. And it's not something you would want in a state attorney general.
Well, yeah, definitely don't want that.
Make the comments he made, like, they were really, really bad, and not just allegations. We saw the comment, like, there was no debate about it. But it wasn't something that was illegal. It wasn't illegal, but it's the kind of there are things that are not legal or that are legal that you just don't want to do or don't want to say, and that was one of those things and was very, very bad. But that's how they handled it. But whenever they can pressure Republicans, they're going to
try, absolutely.
And Republicans need to point their hypocrisy out and tell them to sit the fuck down, and push back like that. And that's the other reason that Trump is in office, is we've gotten, as Republicans, Democrats have acted as bullies for as long as I can remember.
Oh, yeah.
And too many times they bullied Republicans, and we watched the Republicans fold. And so we're like, we've voted you in office. We gave you this power. We gave you all three branches of government, or, at least on the executive side and legislative, we do have all three now because we do have a majority on the Supreme Court sometimes.
Is it like
sometimes?
It's what was the most recent voting though? It was like 6-2 or something like that for the
6-3.
6-3 to declare the tariffs illegal. Which I one thing I do want to get out there is, if anybody's hearing this, tariffs are not illegal. It's not tariffs that they said were illegal. They said his overreach in trying to levy this $1 trillion tax that's what they said was illegal. Because I see a lot of people saying
what they actually said was, you got to take it just a step further, and I'll help you out with that, is that that should have been done by Congress.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like, but the narrative is they're saying, oh, well, tariffs have actually been illegal this whole time.
No.
I've seen so many people, and I'm not the
It's
type
the
to
process,
reply.
not the tariffs themselves.
I'm not the type to reply and put deep responses for stuff like that. I was like, if you guys are gonna put this shit out there, at least get the facts straight. Just don't bend the narrative. And of course, they're not gonna fucking listen to anything I have to say. They're gonna do whatever they fucking want
Right,
because
sure.
it fits their argument. But everything that they posted in this tweet was fundamentally wrong in some way, shape, or form. It might have had a sliver of a fact, but it was so warped and different from what the truth was.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see 1.4 million retweets and impressions and stuff like that.
That's
People
what I've
agreeing.
been talking about.
And it pisses me off because you're just you're purposely spreading fake news either for monetary gain, political gain, or both, whatever it is, or just you want to feel good.
And speaking of monetary gain, Trump talked about the fact that that they've had legislation floating around, and he'd like to see it done. I'd like to see it done, where Congress has some restraint on them when it comes to stock trading.
Yeah, they definitely should.
Yeah,
I agree.
and
100%.
he actually pointed. Elizabeth Warren actually stood up. Pocahontas actually stood up and applauded, which was funny.
That probably ate her up
Nancy
inside.
Pelosi later said she did, but Nancy Pelosi did not stand up because she has been the biggest abuser of that of anyone.
awful.
Of anyone.
It's so bad.
She's so bad.
They dedicated a whole website. Basically, if you want to get rich, just invest in what Nancy Pelosi invest in. And they had to put the website down. They did a cease and desist or whatever because I'm sure
It still exists.
it's still there. Because when I looked it up the one time, it said this web page is no longer available.
No, there's one out there because you
There's
can
another one?
you can
Okay.
follow and you get basically like say a Robinhood account,
Mm-hmm.
and then I forget who the company is, but what they do is they scan all of the stuff for the congressional members when they have to turn it in.
Yeah.
Because now how about this? Whatever percentage you get on your investments by following her, and it has been profitable to follow her,
Yeah.
it's not as profitable as being her because there's a lag time,
Yeah.
between when they make the trades and when they have to report them.
Yeah.
So even with that lag time, like the latest, like over the last 6 months or last year, it's beating the S&P 500.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
bring that up. She's the smartest investor ever.
Yeah.
Apparently, she beats all these multi-billion-dollar
Hedge
companies,
funds.
that have an inside track on the game, but not compared to her.
Yeah,
She's just so much better. And then
so much better.
she said her husband is a financially savvy guy. That's why all this is going out. Yeah. Okay.
You mean, and that's why he got rid of PayPal stock a couple weeks before
Yeah.
legislation that came through that helped take PayPal stock down.
He's like Nostradamus. Apparently, you can see the future.
But yeah,
Ridiculous.
so they were making money. That was one of the things too. Oh,
Real quick though,
Yeah, go ahead.
It's changed over. So it used to be a website. It was like NancyPelosiTracker.com or something like that. So they had to like take it down for some stupid reason. I do remember that, but now but you have a Robert.
I don't know if it's the same one, but I know there's one up.
It's a different guy, and it's an actual business. It's not like
Like
a
a troll website.
It's not a troll website. It's like a legit website,
Okay.
and it's not just Nancy Pelosi. You can follow
It's
any
like all
other
of them.
politician or
Yeah,
any
sure, yeah.
governor or whatever.
which is great.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I agree that they shouldn't even be able to have their hands in that. That's what I think.
I think I was watching there was a video of the guy explaining the whole business idea behind it, and because he was like, "Oh yeah, since we're not gonna change how they make money, might as well just piggyback off of them." Basically, what he said.
Yeah.
And it's completely legal.
Well, that's a logical argument. If we're not going to change the way they're compensated, and then they're going to keep doing shady stuff to increase their net worth, why aren't we allowed to just follow their path, and at least from a monetary standpoint, and benefit from that? Now, I don't think it's okay, but that one of the bigger things I think with any politician is we need to. I hate to give this to them, but we need to pay them more so there's less incentive to do this insider trading, but have a little bit more of oversight on it.
I would think so too, but the amount of money they can make out on the outside You know,
There's loopholes no matter what you do.
Well, I'm
That's
just
what
saying,
sucks.
I don't know that if you could increase your net worth, like I believe like Ilhan Omar has, to say, I don't know what her number is now. Let's say it's 10 million, and when she came into office, it was less than $1 million, and she hasn't been around that long.
No.
And she's made more by the shady bullshit than if you paid her $1 million a year.
Yeah. The math doesn't add up.
Yeah, we could never pay him enough. And that's why, that's one of the reasons. The other thing that we can do then, so that they can't do this on an extended basis, is term limits.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, what they could also do is, why not make the time frame shorter? If somebody's going to be a stock trader, okay, why not make it so that has to be reported within 7 days, not every quarter or something? You know what I mean? That might keep them, because then if it's closer to the trade, you could see what happened in that trade and know that there was something going on. Something went on with the stock, and they always seem to trade a week to 2 weeks before, such and such happens, and, really then be able to bring a case.
Yeah.
If you can bring a case against Martha Stewart and send her to jail or prison, then you can do these people too.
Absolutely.
And they're getting away with it, which all goes back to the two-tiered system, and, people believing, rightfully so, that the system is rigged. The system is rigged for them to be able to do whatever the fuck they want.
I agree.
And take a shit ton of money. And I'm sure it pisses a lot of people off, because these are not a bunch of bright people. I'm not saying there's not bright people in government, but that is such a small number of them. And especially when you get into these representatives and stuff, and what they did in their life experience. And, what is Mamdani's life experience, the mayor of New York? What's his life? What has he done?
No, I don't know. I have no idea. I'd never heard of him until he ran, and he started making headlines for shit that he was saying and doing. But I unfortunately think a lot of this would be wishful thinking, just because asking the government to regulate themselves on how much money they're making, and for a more even playing field. That's
we can do it.
Very hard to ask.
It is hard, but there is a mechanism that we can do it and vote state by state, and you have to get a certain number of signatures, and then it has to be voted on. It has to be passed by a certain number of states. But it's not going to. But but then people shouldn't complain about it. Then, if you're against it, then do something about it. Besides complain about it on a social media post. So that's the choices that you have there. But they are doing it. It should be illegal. It probably should be be illegal under their current laws. I don't know. I just know that I don't like it, and I understand why other people don't like it.
I'm
a lot. Yeah. It just, just the shady shit that goes on.
It's exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally, financially, emotionally. We're tired, people. We're tired.
Yeah.
You know what I'm not tired of? Trivia.
All right. You got some trivia for us. Bring it on.
I was waiting for you to chime in.
I can't read this, so Mike, can you go ahead and read off the questions, and I will try my best to.
Hilarious, you think that I can read?
You read better than I can, that's for sure.
All right, so which one you did? We did the football one.
So there's the football one, then we have the if we get to it, we have another one of the state city capitals. I'm just very curious as to how much Troy actually knows about the Steelers, more than anything. So I decided we're gonna go with this one instead.
Well, just so if it makes you feel any better, Troy, we did a Broncos one yesterday, and I failed miserably.
All right,
I got like what 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10, or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't the best.
Not
Yeah,
good. No. I swear I'm a fan. I promise. All right, question number 1. After a couple disappointing seasons, the Steelers had a strong year in the strike-shortened 1982 season. However, they suffered a heartbreaking loss in the first round of the playoffs to which AFC West nemesis, 1982.
Based on the year,
I know you're going to pick this one.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Chiefs? Interesting. Final answer?
You're surprised I got that right?
No,
you
it's
won't
not.
know until the end.
You won't know
We
until
have to
the
answer
end.
all of
Oh,
them, and then
okay.
I'll tell you afterwards.
I thought you were showing me I was right.
All right. So,
Next one. All right.
Number 2. I mean, you can be right if you want to. Number 2. The much maligned Bubby Brister did not go on to play for which of the following teams? This one, I have no idea.
I know he played for the Broncos. So I'm going to say he did not play for the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right. Question number 3. Who was acquired via free agency to replace future Hall of Famer Rod Woodson after they cut him? That is a tough one.
Donnell Woodford?
There we go. Number 3 there. Wolford. Perfect. All right. Question 4. Despite an occasional flash of brilliance, speedster Dwight Stone never was a good fit at running back and didn't have the hands for wide receiver. How long did Stone end up playing in the NFL?
Yeah. We'll go with 8 years then.
Go with 8. All right. Number
Stone
5.
hands.
This receiver got significant playing time in the mid-70s, even with the presence of Swan and Stallworth, GOATs. He eventually went on to play for the
Theo
Bills
Bell.
and made the Pro Bowl in 1981. Who was he? Theo Bell. Perfect. Question number 6. In the 90s, Bill Cowher seemed to be enamored with players from Colorado, with the likes of Stewart, Chad Brown, Deion Figures, C.J. Johnson, etc. The same could be said about Noel and Baylor in the early and mid-80s. Which of the following players did not go to Baylor? No, I've never seen any of these names.
Ouija Thompson.
Oh, Ouija Thompson. All right, that's the last one. Yes, sir. Perfect. Well, this seems a kind of why does the question start out like that? Though I am not a Bill Cowher fan, okay. I think his one brilliant coaching move was the onside kick in the third quarter of Super Bowl against the Cowboys. Who recovered it?
Who recovered it?
That would have been like 95.
Deion Figures.
Deion Figures. Perfect. Number 8. The Steelers have had some real horses that have been cursed with some baggage and questionable dedication. Which one of these was not a Steeler?
Well, Bam Morris was. Foster was. I think Worley was. So I think Charles White was not a Steeler.
Beautiful. All right. Question number 9. Tight end Eric Green had the talent to revolutionize his position. His combination of size, speed, hands, and blocking ability made the sky the limit. Where did he play college ball?
I have no idea. So we're going to go with Tennessee, Chattanooga.
Nice. Second one down there, Leo. Beautiful. All right. 10, I believe, what is the last the final question. What XL franchise did Tommy Maddox play for? Oh, boy.
Tommy Gunn. You know, he led us to the playoffs.
Mhm.
Tommy Gunn did. And he originally played for your Broncos.
Yeah, it was number 8. We actually had
And when he played for the XFL, he was the player of the year, MVP.
not surprised. I mean, he had a decent career in the NFL. Wasn't like the GOAT or anything, but it wasn't terrible.
I'm going to go with the Outlaws.
Las Vegas Outlaws. All right. Beautiful.
How confident? Just out of curiosity, how confident are you on your answers? Out of 10,
Out of 10, half.
Half of them, yeah.
Because a lot of them, what I've noticed too, is they can be very specific. Like very specific.
And that this is so on this website, and we'll bring this up every once in a while. There's levels to the test, basically, and this one is on the more difficult end of the
thank
spectrum.
you.
So just to give you a heads up on
All
that.
right. All right.
All right, let's.
I'm anxious
Drum
to see
roll,
the results.
And it's the Chargers. I was gonna say the Broncos.
I almost said the Chargers, but I was thinking that was when who was the Chiefs quarterback?
Not when like Montana's days.
Yeah, I thought it was
Montana's days with the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
why I thought it was the Chiefs.
Okay.
Because of the year.
Yeah. Well, let's read it out. The real
Dan Fouts. Yeah.
Dan Fouts always seemed to give the Steelers fits, and we won't even mention the 1994 AFC Championship game,
which I hated.
The game was in Three Rivers, and also was Lynn Swan's last game, and in effect, Bradshaw's last hurrah, retiring in 1983. So, and then the Bubby Brister did not play for the New Orleans Saints. That was the correct answer there. So after being cut by the Steelers, the Saints actually showed interest in the native Cajun for their starting QB job, but he ended up in Philly as a backup. Seemed like a good fit for the gifted but inconsistent Brister. You were right about number 3. Donnell Wolford. I guess it proves that you get what you pay for. Rod has gone on to multiple Pro Bowls, earned a Super Bowl ring.
I was happy for him.
Just a little subtle shot there. He was shit, but he played for 14 years.
Okay, yeah, that was the one I was excited to learn about. Do you know this player at all, or like do you know
never heard
too
of
much
this
about
guy.
him? Or
No, not that much.
So he also played for the Jets and Panthers, and on primetime he's known as Dwight in the Family Stone, and may have fit in the offense better if he had been around to play in some of Earhart's 4 and 5 wide receiver sets as a slot receiver. Couldn't fucking catch though.
14 years.
It's just been a track star. All right, number 5. Frank Lewis was the receiver that got significant playing time in the presence of Swan and Stallworth. And then eventually played for the Bills and then went to the Pro Bowl in 1981.
All right.
I don't even know who Frank Lewis is. So, you were right. Oh, Ouija Thompson.
Wow, we got 2.
Ouija attended Florida State. Pollard was drafted in the 11th round in 80, Abercrombie 1st in 82, and Everett 4th in 87. Other Baylor players were Greg Hawthorne, 1st in 79, Bo Scott Metcalf, sick name, 4th in 83, and Mark Kirchner, 7th in 1983.
All right.
The more you know. Beautiful. All right. And there you are. So, you were right about Deion Figures. I'm not even going to read what that dude put at the end, because that's just purely opinionated, clearly. Actually, what's your opinion on Bill Cowher saying that? He's saying he's not a Bill Cowher fan. Obviously, it's got to be a Steelers fan. That's kind of crazy to me.
I don't know. I liked Bill Cowher.
I just
The
think,
Jaw.
yeah. So I'm saying,
He's
like,
known as the Jaw.
I kind of figured like all Steelers fans like held him to some high standard, well, not high standard, but high degree.
Yeah, well, we got to 2 Super Bowls, lost one that we should have won against the Cowboys, but yeah, no, I liked Bill Cowher and the job that he did. I was fine with him.
The only reason I'm confused is because that's actually the first time I've seen a Steelers fan say I'm not a Bill Cowher fan, because that's kind of nuts to me. Because everything, like you go into Pittsburgh and like you bring up Bill Cowher and everybody, it's like Jerome Bettis in a way. Like you don't hear anybody say anything bad about him. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. All right. You're right about number 8, Charles White. So he was the one that was cursed with some baggage and had questionable dedication. Charles White was first a Cleveland Brown, interesting, and then later led the league in rushing for the Rams in a strike-shortened season. Was that 82? I believe that was 82.
Something like that.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Okay, so the tight end went to Liberty, Eric Green. So despite off-field
That
problems,
was a toss-up for me.
yeah, that's a tough one. Despite off-field problems, he still made 2 Pro Bowls, though it could have easily been far more. He's a 285 to 290 pound tight end with speed. Holy shit! That's like who you have now.
He was big.
Darnell Washington, that tight end. He's
Yeah.
like 6'7", but
that's true.
he's a good athlete. All right, last question.
Oh,
Los Angeles Extreme.
Oh,
That's who he
it
won
had
the
to be one of
MVP
those
for.
2, and I just went with Vegas.
4 out of 10.
But I did know other facts about him.
Yeah.
I didn't even guess how many I was going to get right.
Well, the average is actually 5 out of 10. So the thing is with some of these quizzes, like I said, some of them I feel like it's somebody just happens to know a few random facts, and then they're like, let me just make a quiz out of this and see if anybody else knows. And it's just super fucking.
I
niche,
also do
very
find
niche.
it kind of fascinating that they'll actually tell you per question, like how often people, like in the bottom left corner, you can actually see how common the answers are to get correct or not, which I find kind of fascinating. I saw one that was at like 15%. I was like, why the fuck? Yeah, this one right here.
15%. Yeah.
That's why I was kind of curious if you knew this person, because I read that only 13 people get this right. So I was like, I wasn't sure if maybe that was like a common person that people talk about or anything like that.
I've never heard of them, but
yeah, I appreciate you coming over to trivia time with us. It was a fun time, and we'll for sure be bringing this around a few more times. So
all right,
and now we can move over to some more politics.
Well, what I wanted to finish with really is something that is going to be talked about here in continuing over the next few weeks, and that is the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act, and it's a voting legislation that they want, and a lot of bad information has been talked about with this that's just not true, and especially when it becomes women now. They say that women aren't going to be able to vote, or some women aren't going to be able to vote because women get married and their names are not going to match their birth certificates then, right? So I wanted to kind of go over some of the points of this that were made and kind of blow them out of the water a little bit. Because apparently it's too confusing to people to understand, because we have, Dems who are fear-mongering people. So here is the easiest way I can kind of present this. When you are born in the United States, you get a birth certificate. That birth certificate has your full name, your date of birth, your parents, your place of birth. If you're a girl, it has your maiden name. And the reason, obviously, why is because no one knows if you'll ever get married or who you'll get married to.
Yeah.
Right? That's easy. Now you fast forward. You meet someone, you get married. What do you need when you get married? Marriage license. Yes. Yeah. So you go to the courthouse. You apply. You get married. Everyone signs the paperwork. You file it with the courthouse. Mm-hmm. Then they issue a marriage certificate. The marriage certificate shows your maiden name, because that was your legal name, right, when you filed. Shows your spouse's name and the connection between your old name and your new name. And that document is what legally ties your maiden name to your married name. Now, if you choose to change your name, what's step one? You go to the Social Security office. And you know what they require? A marriage certificate, marriage license. You do not change your birth certificate, because the birth certificate's accurate. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. And it's just no reason for it to ever change. So then, years later, someone says your birth certificate says Smith, but your driver's license says Johnson. What do? You show them your birth certificate that shows Smith, and then you show them your marriage certificate that says Smith to Johnson, okay? And that legally connects the two. And there's your problem solved right there. You do not change your birth certificate. You do not lose your citizenship. You do not lose your right to vote. You do not need to erase your maiden name from history. That's who you were. And the marriage certificate is the document specifically to document the name change. That's literally what it's for. So the idea that women are going to be unable to prove who they are because of their birth certificates and their maiden name just isn't true. So they're lying about that when it comes to women, or that all of a sudden so many women are not going to be able to vote because they're not going to be able to prove who they are. And I'm kind of over like this really blatant spreading of lies. There's enough things that as we were talking, that they could tell the truth about and attack the president or Republicans over, do that. That would be a smart play. So we already use driver's licenses, Social Security updates, passports, banking, insurance, taxes. We have to have all of those documents for those things. So none of that is new. Hell, you have to do it. We found out Monday that you needed to be loaded with documentation just to shovel fucking snow.
Yeah.
But this is just basic record keeping is all this is. And so if someone tells you that married women would automatically be blocked from registering because their names don't match, you just have to ask the person, well, what's the marriage certificate for? Because it's exactly what it's for, is to show that connection with the name. And that's what it's done. So just a little clearing things up.
I'm sorry. So what were people arguing against? That the fact that they're going to lose their voting rights?
Well, they don't. They oppose this. They oppose voter ID. And so, they're taking another approach to it that isn't just related to them bad-mouthing, because they look stupid by saying that black people can't get driver's licenses or get ID. It makes them look stupid and bigoted and racist, and to me that it is. So they're trying to come up with some other reasons to oppose this legislation. And, obviously they oppose it for a certain reason, because only if you're gaming the system in some way with these people, you're benefiting in some way, would you oppose this? Because the general public, like a very high percentage of like Republicans, I probably, it's like 85, 90% of Republicans are for it. And like just under that, high number of independents, maybe like 75 or it's close to that. And then it is a majority of Democrats too, like between 65 and 70%. So the whole thing comes down to around 80% or so. But even Democrats in general, the voters, not the people who represent them, but America. This is one of those issues that we talked about, like we're 80-20, where people just support getting this kind of thing done.
Yeah.
And so that's what it's really about, their opposition to voter ID and just trying to throw whatever mud they can at this and criticize this, legislation, I mean, it's not in there. What they say is in there, or what it's going to do is not that case.
It's fear, like you said. It's just fear mongering. That's all that they know how to do anymore.
Dude, if it actually would keep women from voting, lawsuits would be filed, and this would be taken to the Supreme Court within 30 days.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, because it's not, nobody's trying, and nobody wants to. There's no Republican or conservative that I know that wants voter ID that doesn't want women to vote. Do you know who I do not want to vote?
Who?
Dumb people.
Yeah.
I wish dumb people didn't vote.
That's a hard one. There's quite a few of those ones around.
It is. I know.
Unfortunately, their vote counts the same as yours.
Yeah, and it does. Counts the same. I wish dumb people, like I do not promote during voting season. I don't promote everybody voting. There are some people like I flat out tell you, I don't want you to vote. Yeah, you can. I'm not trying to take your right away. You go vote if you want to vote, but I'd sure appreciate it if some of y'all set this shit out and left it to the people that, actually follow this shit instead of you going and guessing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like a fucking multiple choice test.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Hey, when in doubt, pick C. That's always the right answer.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Yeah,
always pick
facts.
C if you don't know. No, I'm the same way. It's like you said, you can't just sit there and take somebody's right away from voting. But
Right.
you do question a lot of like what you see on a day-to-day basis, not even
Daily.
not even just like online, but in person, like talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first thing that comes up in my head sometimes. I'm like, your vote counts the same as mine, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I can't do shit about that. All I can hope is that you're just all talk,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll just bitch on social media about whatever you don't like that day.
Absolutely. All right, that's what I've got today. So a little bit shorter today, but that's what we got. I wanted to stick to that and not just randomly throw something stupid in the end, other than the fun we had with the trivia.
It was so much fun. We talked about.
I like the trivia. No, I did. I like the trivia. That was good. That was not easy trivia either.
Hell no.
That was good.
Hell no.
Because it was like some of the more obscure Steeler players.
Absolutely.
So what helped me with those, trying to, figure out and cross people out, and like which answers I knew were wrong, is the era, the time of the question. Like I said, how I tried to come up with the right answer. But I said the Chiefs instead of the Broncos, but that's how I had a good reason for choosing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't be that far off.
Can I actually mention something about that trivia? There's between the trivia that we did yesterday and the trivia that we did just now, there was actually a lot of Denver Broncos presence. Like,
yeah, there is
surprisingly.
Actually, we've because we did one trivia where it was just specifically just NFL, right?
Yeah,
and like half of the questions were about Bronco either players or like games or something like that.
It's involved in some way.
Yeah,
but then we did one that was like not even like involved with them at all, and it still had Broncos players. And then we did one with the Steelers, and the Broncos came up like two different times there, 3 times in 10 questions. Yeah. I'm starting to think, well, I'm okay with the bias, but I'm starting to think there's a little bit of bias on this website. Might have to start sponsoring it a little bit. Maybe make some donations here and there,
That's good. That's good. So we'll be back on Friday with more and back at it. Join us on Friday right around 9. Talk to me on the various social media platforms. Would be happy to do so. And this is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah. Defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the